This is my slam time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my slam time. Gonna mess up your whole mind. This is my slam time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my slam time. Gonna mess up your whole mind.
Hello, and welcome to another EWA 2K23 roster reveal video featuring Mammoth, who is on the screen right now. So I am joined, as is traditional, by the creator of Mammoth. Hello.
Well, hello there, good sir.
And yeah, we're gonna do what we've been doing the last few weeks now. Have a little chat about your creation, his origins, his changes over the years. Have a look at Attire's entrance and stuff like that, and just sort of get to know him a little bit. So, yeah. Starting with the obvious question. I mean, I've known you and Mammoth for several years now, but assuming no one, that someone watching doesn't have the first clue, tell me a little bit about Mammoth. What's his deal?
Well, he's a powerhouse.
Mhm.
He's a caveman. He came to the present in my mind from through some sort of like weird portal thing he found. He's not he started off, kind of just trying to find his way, and didn't know he knew violence. Like
Yep.
that's all he knew. He's a caveman. He's basic. So I guess, and somehow he started watching wrestling, and he kind of found his way into the business from there.
Hmm. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, and I think it might not come across because there's nothing to compare him to, just a grey background. But yeah, Mammoth's a big boy. Right.
he's 7 foot 420.
There you
More
go.
than-
Very big. And so he's got like the proper sort of old school 80s, 90s gimmick going on. Like he's an actual caveman. Like,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
yeah, awesome. And something we should address for people that do know Mammoth from previous, and you pointed this out to me before we started before we started the tape rolling. Somebody got a haircut.
He did. He found a barber.
Yeah, he used to have like just the long hair, the big beard, the real traditional sort of caveman look. What prompted you
Right.
to give him short hair this time?
And honestly, it just nothing long looked good on him this year.
Fair.
Like, I went through and there was just nothing there. So, and that was literally the longest beard I could find.
Yeah.
I think his chest is a bit hairier this year though. Like his
Ah.
most-
So
like
when he
his
had the
chest-
haircut, did the barber sort of stick it on his chest like, here, have some extra?
I'm thinking that's what happened.
Yeah, it can sometimes just be the case, like, you're looking to replicate your person as much as possible from the previous year, or at least as the base, but something's been taken out. It might be that a certain long hair style was taken out of the game, so you can't find the exact one you used to like to use, and it prompts, like, a more dramatic change, because like you said, maybe you just can't find a different long hair that you like, for example.
If you remember last year, he had the hat.
Yeah.
think he
Oh yeah, I
tried
was
to
going to
wear-
ask about the hat. He always used to wear a hat. Was that...
Yeah, he got tired of the hat. He said it was too hot for his head. Summer months.
My head's hot. I can't figure out why. So he cut his hair and then put the hat back on and was like, my head's still hot.
Yeah. He didn't like it. He panicked. And just cut the hat out.
Yeah. So, what? So he's a caveman, obviously from the past. What made you go with like the? Is it just because he's a massive guy? It's the classic sort of giant singlet, isn't it? Andre wore one.
Yeah.
Big Show wore one as the giant in WCW. I don't know if he ever wore that type of singlet in WWE,
Right.
but like similar sort of idea. Is that just because giants wear single strap singlets, or?
Pretty much that. And the fact the thought was cavemen don't understand clothes. I don't feel like they'd understand our clothes. So
Yeah.
we went basic,
Yep.
It's if we tried to put him in a suit, I think honestly, and I'd be scared. I would run. I'd run.
Corporate Mammoth coming soon. So, the do I call it a glove? The finger accessories. Talk me through
Oh,
those.
the necklace and the finger accessories are
Yeah.
bones. Supposed to be bones from like animals he's killed
Okay.
throughout the years as
Before he
you
came
know,
forward in time or
yeah,
after?
yeah, before he came
Okay.
forward in time,
Okay,
he was
good.
a hunter, you know, kind of like a sign of nobility that,
Right, okay. Oh, so like in Mammoth's sort of caveman days, it's like the more animal
the more
bones you've got, the more accomplished you are as a hunter, so you're sort of
exact,
regarded better. Okay, cool, makes sense.
yeah,
And
that was
his
definitely the thought process.
and his fingers is that what's the deal with that? Is that human bones of people he's killed, other cavemen?
No, those are still animal bones. On his neck, you notice a few of them are discolored and older.
Yeah,
So like through the years they've kind of progressed. The bones on his hands, don't he don't talk about it much, but I feel like they came from some dinosaurs that had very sharp claws,
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like
Them some
you know,
claws, aren't they? Yeah.
yeah,
So all
definitely
of it's just
respect.
related to his capabilities as a hunter.
Right, exactly.
Fair enough. And speaking of modern things that he doesn't understand, when you mentioned clothes before, if you pan down just a little bit, is that
Yes,
the
he
reason
does
for
not.
the barefootedness? Or
It is. It
yep.
is. We tried to get him in a pair of shoes, and he just wasn't having it. He didn't like. We we just he tore him apart.
Fair enough.
He don't even wear socks. It's weird,
I mean,
especially when we're in public.
probably hard to find shoes in his size as well. He's a big boy,
Oh,
like,
for sure.
but
He,
yeah. And before we sort of look at, so this one's going to be a little bit different because he doesn't have an entrance attire that's different, does he? He doesn't add
no,
anything to his attire. He's very to the point. I think it's fair to say. You know, why
mm,
wear something just to take it off? Like when he gets
mm.
there. Um, is there
We
anything else you want to talk to us about his look, his size, his attire, that sort of thing before we have a look at his entrance?
I don't believe so.
No?
I'm pretty much it's basic. It's very basic for a
Yeah.
caveman. It suits the character well on
But
all
it
aspects.
I talked about this breaking the fourth wall for a second here. We're recording this before the Alan Clark episode went up, so you won't have seen it yet. But I talked about this with Alan Clark's creator, that it's if everyone made things the same, no one would stand out. And I think the
Right.
basicness makes Mammoth stand out. The size also helps, but the fact that he's
Yeah.
just like, you don't get a lot of creator wrestlers that are basically just wearing black,
Right.
because everyone wants to, pick the cool sort of flash attires and stuff like that, and elaborate entrance attires and stuff. And that's fair enough. Each to their own, people do what they want to do. But it really does make Mammoth stand out as a character, that he doesn't have any of that stuff, in my opinion. That he's just, he's got a little bit of flash. He's got his animal bones and his, I don't know, dinosaur claws or whatever's going on, but
Right.
it's not really flash. It makes sense with his character, and I think
Right.
it makes sense that he'd be really basic. He's not going to wear a long, flowing, fluffy robe to the ring, is he? And stuff like that.
No.
So, yeah, I think that's
If you
a super
recall,
important thing.
if you recall, we did get him in a bit of a flash a few years ago when we had the Halloween deal. We had
Yes.
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
We
was
so
one of
to fill in the blanks for people watching that don't know what we're talking about, we did like a Halloween tournament that anyone was welcome to jump in on, but the rules were you had to take your wrestler and put them in like a real WWE wrestler's attire from the game. And Mammoth went for Rey Mysterio, and it was just, and I think you had to give them the finishers as well, didn't you? So we had
yeah,
Mammoth doing a 619, which was just fantastic.
it
Um,
was.
so yeah, but that it's almost non-canon, but not quite. It's sort of like that. It's that weird sort of grey area where that stuff really did happen and is part of the history, but it's like, it doesn't mean Mammoth suddenly isn't Mammoth, kind of thing. Doesn't
No.
get, it's just a little break from
Soon as
character.
soon as the match was over, he ripped it all off. He's like,
Yeah, didn't understand. His head was hot in that mask as well.
yes,
So yeah, I think what we should do now is head across, have a look at the entrance, and see what you've done for that.
uh,
Okay, so green lighting. First thing I
Yeah.
noticed, everything went green. Reason for green? Just personal choice on your
Um,
part, or?
well, yeah, I don't mind green. Green's an okay color. But I was also thinking along the lines of, he comes from the wild where everything's literally green.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's
Um,
that's a cool sort of thing to do. He feels at home amongst the green because like he's
right,
living in just like an empty field or whatever.
exactly.
Had a bit.
And
Did he
then
have a bit of pyro then?
yeah, there is a bit of pyro.
The fire not
Um,
spook him. He's like, what's
no,
that?
it's just more smoke. It's more smoke as he
Okay.
crawls. You notice he kind of crawls on all fours for a second.
Yeah.
Kind of like going back to his roots. Sometimes they tend to be caveman, move on all fours from time to time. So I felt like that was a good call.
Had a huge man standing on top of the top rope as well for his entrance. Very spectacular shot that.
It is a sight to see.
But again, quite a straightforward entrance, which again, talking about how knowing your character and standing out as an individual makes perfect sense for Mammoth. For him not to be too elaborate with what he does on the way to the ring, because he's just sort of to me he's just scoping out the battlefield at the moment. He's like figuring out what's going on. There's some pyro.
Yes. We really had to when the shots popped. We really had to ease a bit. He was nervous, but I'm like, it's okay, bud.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's basic. It's easy. He's kind of like you said, scoping out his areas.
Yeah. And I think the going up to the top rope thing, at first glance, might seem strange on Mammoth, but again, I just see that as almost like, again, getting a little bit higher up to get a good vantage point. That's like his survival instinct,
Exactly.
see further.
Yep.
Back, it all makes sense. It's all very... It's all, and I mean this in a very complimentary way, because I'm sure you could use this as an insult, but in this case, I definitely mean it as a compliment. It's very 80s, 90s gimmicky wrestler. Like,
For sure.
it's all in tune with his character. Everything points towards the same character trait of this guy's a caveman, kind of thing. It's not, oh, this guy's a wrestler dressed as a caveman, which is, I think, what the difference is nowadays, is that's what most of the gimmicky stuff is.
Right. The whole mindset's there.
Yeah. I've always really liked Mammoth. I think, he brings something different with being... Because the other thing is, it's quite popular to make smaller guys as well as your wrestlers, because they get, the flippy, cool moves and stuff, and get to do some of the high flying stuff. So it's a nice contrast to have a big dude, and hopefully this big dude does big things this year in EWA. That's
Mammoth kind of punches you in the mouth and leaves you like that.
yeah, exactly. And we're not going to get into like move sets and stuff. We're going to leave that reveal for when everyone's actually wrestling, but
Right.
I think I've heard through the grapevine Mammoth's got the same finisher as he always used to, and again, pretty straightforward, pretty simple, to the point, uses his strengths. We don't need to say any more at the moment, but it's it's all, and that's what I really like about this sort of this league, is everyone knows their character now. Everyone's got their gimmick down and knows what they're doing with their wrestler, and I think that's more powerful than just having a bunch of fairly similar but entertaining wrestlers that all do all have cool ring gear, a flashy entrance, and flipping and flying all over the place. I think it's I think it's good to have that, but it's better that it's not all that. It's a good mix. The same way it wouldn't work if we had a roster full of mammoths. If it was just a bunch of giants that all wear black and don't really do a lot spectacular, that wouldn't be fun either. It has to be a mix of the various types of character, and I think that's where one of EWA's big strengths is, to be honest.
The diversity is definitely strong within EWA.
Yeah, I mean, we've only seen 4 guys at this point. I mean, the 2 in Fun Hinge, they're understandably similar. They're in a team, kind of thing. They're of a similar mindset. but then we had a big contrast with Alan Clark, and I think Mammoth, while more on the Alan Clark side of things, is a big contrast from Alan Clark as well, you know, so sort of like adds a third prong to that, make, you know, in terms of being different from Funhinged and different from Alan Clark, and you know, hopefully, like, you know, I know very little about what's coming up in my future episodes of this so far, you know, it's as people come to me, but hopefully we continue to get that sort of branching out of different types of wrestlers.
For sure. The diversity is definitely a strong point.
Yes, absolutely. Is there anything else you want to add? I'm aware this is going to be the shortest episode of this so far, but Mammoth is quite a simple character, you know, so it's
straightforward.
Yeah, but if there's anything you want to talk about from Mammoth's origins, you know, like why you originally decided you wanted a caveman, or anything in the creation process you want to share with us, basically, absolutely feel free to now.
Well, going off with the diversity, if you recall, I did have a more, you know, smaller wrestler when I first started. And you know, in the Proving Ground days I ran with what I called Rika. He was basic, you know, he wasn't over extravagant, but he was smaller, high flying, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I kind of sat back the following year. I think it was 2K 2019.
I think it was probably 19. I feel like Mammoth goes back quite far. It was probably only in the first season that you didn't use Mammoth, I would think.
Yeah, and you know, after I did that first initial run, I'm like, everybody's small, everybody, and you know, it just was like, how can I change the game? You know, how can I one up? Not so much one up it, but you know, how can I
stand out?
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you know, like we said, you know, we get a lot of high players, we get a lot of, you know, smaller guys, and you know, Mammoth just fit. You know, I wasn't really sure. I just knew I wanted to create a bigger guy. That was like the first thing that this guy has to be big. He's gonna make it. And you know, and I really thought about it. I'm like, let's be honest. Nobody really has ever done a caveman persona. You know, as basic as it is, and you know, nobody's really rolled with it.
Yeah.
And so that's what came out of it was Mammoth. And you know, obviously he's done well for himself over the years, and you know, he's grown as a character. I definitely enjoy playing with him.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's fun to watch as well, because it adds a, like you said, about a lot of the, well, pretty much everyone's smaller than Mammoth, like the small relative to Mammoth, but it adds a different dimension, because Mammoth's going to be slower than his smaller opponents, but they're not going to be able to just walk up to him and start doing their power moves like maybe they can to each other, you know, and because, you know, the game has mechanics where like the big guys just sort of shove them off and stuff, so it sort of forces that David versus Goliath fight style that you don't get with light heavyweights versus cruiserweights, you know, kind of, which is, you know, so it adds a different dimension to the show as well, in that we're going to get a match that looks different, you know, on each card. So I think that's a good thing too.
Oh yeah, you know, that's where it was, you know, like, what can I bring to the table that is gonna, you know, make everybody, not only me up my game, but everybody else. Like you said, playing against Mammoth is a different ballgame.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like, you know, we both know, and anybody who's played or watched knows, like you said, you know, you can't just come in and pound the hell out of them.
Yeah. There's animations in the game specifically just for a super heavyweight shoving away a smaller wrestler and stuff like that.
Right.
So, go on.
Oh, I just want to say, like I said, I feel like it makes my opponents up their game. I feel like, you know, it just brings a different, like you said, dimension to the matches, and you know, I wasn't looking to just be better. I was looking to take EWA, you know what I mean, assist in taking it to another level as well, as far as competitiveness and, you know, just the aspect of what I can bring to the table as a player.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely think Mammoth does that. He creates, like I say, something different, a different type of spectacle for people to watch and look forward to. You know, who's gonna have to try and tackle Mammoth this week, you know, is certainly one of the interesting aspects, I would say, because, you know, it's always a bit of a challenge. So, but yeah, go on.
I was just saying, we've had bigger guys.
Yeah.
Mammoth is a big, but you know, there ain't a knock at any of them. They're all big great creations. Mammoth has stayed. You know, that's like another thing for me. Like, you know, we had Thunder Anderson. Thunder Anderson's kind of off. You know what I mean? That's the first one that came to mind to me.
Yeah.
You know, and that ain't a knock at, you know, Thunder at all. You know, it's a great creation. It's just kind of like that person decided to take the character in a different, you know, area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that left a very
Left
large hole to be filled, and we found a very large block to put in that very large hole.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, I think what we'll do here is just let this entrance run one more time for everyone to watch. But I think we'll wrap it up here, unless, like I say, unless you've got anything else you want to add. I think we've covered a lot of things, really.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much more.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of said where he came from, explained his attire, you know, when the mindset comes out of it.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
I feel like
absolutely.
it was good.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does once EWA 2K23 launches. So, you know, good luck with it all and what have you. And for everyone watching, thank you. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and you like the look of Mammoth. Subscribe if you're new here. Going to be starting the league up pretty soon, like in the next few weeks. We won't give an exact date just yet, but we're getting there. And yeah, we'll run through the entrance like now because it's just starting over one more time. But we'll just shut up and let you enjoy it. So yeah, see ya.
Have a good one.